Ciao a tutti. All right, 10 things that we learned while living here in Sicily. Well, 10 years that I've been here. Al, you've been here much longer. You've been coming and going to Sicily for over 20 years. And, there's a lot of things that we learned. And of course, the show is going to finish, and I'm going to, oh my God, I forgot to say this, this, and this. So, no particular order. Here are some of the things that we learned. And of course, we're 10 years older. So there's that. There's the personal growth part of it. But I'm going to tell you, Al, and hello.
Hi, sweetheart.
I'm going to tell you one of the biggest things that I learned my first year is to just slow down because time stands still in many places here. And I remember, Al, going to the supermarket and there was a line at the cash register and there were like 5 people in front of me and I'm going, I gotta go. I was a type A TV journalist, always on the go, always deadline, always things to do. And the guy at the cash register is talking to the woman and they're talking about a recipe. And I'm going, really? Can you just punch in her items that you bought and can we go? Because there's 5 people in front of me. And that point I realized I gotta slow down, smell the roses. And you know what I started doing? I started reading ingredients and items to learn Italian. So slowing down was a big lesson for me here in Sicily.
Okay, so I promised Esther at the inception I wasn't going to use a specific term. She says she didn't want me to use the term.
What term?
She says, I prohibit you from using the term
How could I prohibit?
mindfulness.
Oh, no, I love that word.
So I'm not going to use the term mindfulness, but here's what I'm going to say. Remember Caesar said, omnis gala is divisa in tre partes. Remember that Latin? Opening line of
something is divided in 5 parts.
Caesar's Gaelic Wars. That's the opening line. All of Gaul is divided into 3 parts.
Oh, 3 parts.
3 parts. I could say that Sicily is divided into maybe 5 parts or 6 parts, and I want to kind of go over my parts as my first one today.
Go for it.
And I want to put them in circles, okay? The first circle I have that I've developed here the last over 20 years that I've been here, a circle of friends, okay? At the top of my circle of friends are my 2 brothers, my 2 Sicilian brothers here, Massimo and Roberto.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we've been through thick and thin. We've been through joy and sorrow. We've been through battles, you name it. They're at the top of my list. Then I have my 3, I guess you can call them Sicilian daughters. And that would be the original one, Katia, who I met when she was 18 years old. And now she's not 18 anymore, but she's a lot older. She is with child and so forth. Maria Pace, who you guys all know because we took her to the United States. We coached her up in English at Merrimack College, and now she's back with the Sicilian Project. And more recently, Stefania. Okay. Collectively, I refer to these 3 women as my daughters. Okay. So that's like in group 1, so to speak. Group 2 are my friends, my good expat friends that I have developed here, okay? And I guess I could start off with people like Jody, that you know all the time. We talk about her. Anthony Campanella, one of my great friends, Anthony Campanella. I could talk about Nancy Moranto. She's another great one. She comments all the time on everything we do. And there's that subcategory of people called great friends, okay? And then the other group would be acquaintances, people who I am friends with, but I'm really not friends with, so to speak. You know, the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker, people that we see every day, business contacts, etc. They're not really my friends, although I'm friendly with them. And then the last group, which I have struggled with for over 20 years, is that group, besides all my friends, and by the way, Esther has got a lot of friends I didn't include in my list because all of Esther's friends are also my friends. So she'll include those if she wants to. But then there's another group of people who I consider to be, well, for want of a provincial dickwads. How does that sound? All right. They simply think that because they were born here in Sicily, that they are more Sicilian than I am. Okay. And that I am nothing more than a stranger, a stranieri, as they call them.
Hmm.
Those people I do not accept. And usually they're of the lower intellectual class, to be frank with you. I forgot more on my little finger than they ever knew. They don't know history. They can't have an intelligent discussion about Italian politics. Yet, because they were born here, and because I can only trace my lineage back to Trecastani till the year 1705, comma, they are more
Okay, honey.
Sicilian than I am. So that's number one.
So what did you learn? What
I
was
learned
that?
that there are dicks in Sicily.
So
Not
basically,
everybody is like warm and fuzzy
Al,
like my first groups.
right. So that's what, but Al, that's a true everywhere. I would say
Okay.
that's a lesson that you can do everywhere, right?
Well, you know something though. I have to.
I'll tell
Okay,
you.
and then she's your turn next. Go ahead.
I'll tell you what I learned. I'm going to piggyback a little bit on there because first of all, I don't even know who you're talking about that are disdains like that to you in
Okay.
our circle
I'll
of
tell you
friends.
off. No,
Our
they're
cir-
not in our circle of
in our
friends, and I'll,
circle of
I'll tell you off
acquaintances.
camera. Okay.
Okay. Uh, I learned well actually that I'm not Sicilian. I'm Hungarian. I'm European. I'm American. Number one. And then, secondly, I live here in Sicily, that Sicilians really can be good friends and treat you like family. Not 1 ounce of Sicilian blood in me, but I learned that everyday Sicilians can treat you like family. And I'm just going to piggyback. That's in conjunction to what you said. They're very inviting, they're very loving, and they'll do anything for you. Not everyone, and of course, there's dick stains everywhere. But let's move on. Here's the other thing, and I'm going to keep it a little bit lighter, if you don't mind, Al. I learned that the whole way I approached coffee, aperitivo, having let's say, a cocktail, or even a granita was not the way they approach it here. Here, they take it as part of their life, their culture. Having a coffee, you don't just have to have a coffee by the bar, which is what a lot of Sicilians do. They'll stand there by the bar and just have a coffee. But having a coffee and sitting down and talking, having a granita, exchanging ideas, having a conversation, it's all part of the culture. Whereas in the United States, what? Have our to-go coffee and we're on the go and we're driving and drinking coffee. Never happens ever, 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 ever. In the States, of course, everyone's drinking their whatever coffee and driving. That whole culture around food, around coffee, around things is something that I learned that was very beautiful. And of course, the aperitivo, right? You have an aperitivo, a drink, and then you have all these snacks right before dinner, a few hours before dinner. And people make this an event. If you go anywhere around Sicily, around 3, 4, 5 o'clock, you'll see people sitting, having an Aperol Spritz, for instance, a little snack, and having conversations. What a novel idea, having a conversation over a drink, over a coffee, over a granita, etc. I love that. I love that I learned that, and I love that I incorporated into my life.
Well, okay. I just think that in the United States, I had all those things. I had a very good family, Sicilian background family. We slept just like your mom. You hang around the kitchen table and you
Mhm.
chit chat and you eat, and friends come over.
You were lucky you were brought up in
We were
that
both, yeah,
household.
we were both brought up in a very ethnocentric background. Her exclusively Hungarian until the Americanization kicked in, but she was born in Budapest after all, and me in my bilingual household. Now, getting back to here, okay?
Something you learned the past 10 years.
Look on the ground before you walk, okay?
Mm.
Because since I've been here in 20 years, I've suffered 4 times, 4 really painful falls by simply not paying attention. On my walks, I'd be looking at the beauty. I've been looking at the sea. I'd be on my cell phone, and I wouldn't see the hole in front of me because the holes here, they're not holes. They're like holes, if you know what I mean. And 4 times I have injured myself badly. That's taken weeks, in some cases, years to get over because I was silly and I wasn't.
Would you say that would go with your mindfulness? That you need more mindfulness?
I have to be more mindful of the fact that I'm an idiot when it comes to walking. I guess I could say that. How does that sound? So number 2 is be aware of your surroundings. I'm a lot better today than I was, okay? Although this week I did fall. But other than that,
but it wasn't outside, and it wasn't because you weren't watching a pavement. But let's move on.
true.
Are you good with that one?
That's a good one. That's 2. Mindfulness, okay? Being aware of your
All right.
surroundings.
Expect the unexpected. I'm telling you this about everything, not only from the weather. For instance, there could be some unusual weather happenings all throughout the year. Yes, it's beautiful, it's sunny, it's Sicily, but you could have, snap of a finger, a huge cyclone go through, thunderstorm, a lot of rain, hail, and all of a sudden, boom. And then you add Etna. You never know about Mama Etna. She could be explosion. She could be putting on a show. They're just expect the unexpected. And those meteorologists, just like anywhere else around the world, they get paid all this money. And do they ever predict it right? No. Anyway, expect the unexpected, and also expect the unexpected sort of everyday life type of things. You never know what's going to hit you, and you sort of have to be ready and sort of shake your head. And for instance, let me give one little example that just happened. So I have health insurance that I pay, a state health insurance that I pay here in Sicily. And over the past few years, for 1 year, because I have a Hungarian passport, an American passport, and I have my residency, so I have to pay it as a stranieri. I was paying 300-400 euro a year, and all of a sudden this year, October of last year, the ministry signed the new budget, 2,000 euro for the yearly health insurance. That's what, 4 times, 5 times the number. So somewhere in the budget, but they do that all over the world, right? They put the little language in the middle of nowhere, right? The secret is making the budget is in the sausage and all the ingredients they put. They snuck that in there. And so this year, $2,000. Thankfully, we'll be able to cover it. But expect the unexpected. Expect the unexpected, because the government changes, and this had to do very much with the government change. So rules change, and on top of all of that, every community has a different rule. So some communities were giving people who have resident cards like me some discounts. Not where we live. Expect the unexpected.
I think she's kind of pissing in the wind myself. She's paying $2,000 a year. That's 250.
I'm not pissing.
$250, $300 a month. Stop and think. If you're in the United States and you have a family, you're paying $2,000 a month.
True,
right?
But sweetheart,
So stop.
I'm just
Plus,
saying,
she gets to write it off because of the taxes. So I don't think it's a big. I don't think it's a big thing to pay what you're supposed to pay.
I agree.
In Sicily. If they say $3,000 next year, $3,000 for a year for everything being covered.
Sweetheart, we're talking about lessons. Expect the unexpected.
I'll tell you what unexpected is. And
I've
done this with you, and this is a lot better now. Okay, now it's my turn. We got caught into a flood in Ragusa. You remember that? We got caught into a flood. We almost got our car. We had to take a 100-mile diversion. Number one. We got caught into at least 2 or 3 wildfires. Okay, where in one case we had to leave the house, and then after we left the
Expect the
house,
unexpected.
after
Point.
you after we left the house, we almost got caught up in Trickestein getting trapped by jumping fires. Okay, we got caught with Etna repeatedly. Okay, we get caught with having the water cut off. We get caught with having the electricity cut off.
My point exactly.
Okay.
Expect the unexpected.
Those are the types of things that those are things that actually, influence us or influence me. The other one doesn't. It's only money. That's
agree,
all it is.
but it goes-
is only money.
But sweetheart,
Pay.
you're right. But
Right.
it goes into the expect the unexpected.
Okay, next. Your turn.
Why? That was sort of the same thing. Expect
Okay,
the
so-
unexpected.
I have some more, of course.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's another thing, too, okay? Keep track of your money in a foreign country. You have to constantly watch your bank accounts. You have to constantly watch your Gmail, your emails for people trying to get your information from your bank accounts. They look just like a legitimate, security thing.
Honey, that's a lesson everywhere around the world.
But in the last 10 years, it's like it's been amplified. I never had those problems when I first came here. Okay.
Okay.
Now-
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
I'm more interested. I'll ask you now because I want you to
Yeah.
stay focused on the topic. I'm more interested to see what you have learned in terms of living here as an expat. Besides, you talked about money, but I'm talking about everyday types of things that you have learned living here as an expat.
The first thing I learned, and I swear to God, I'm 73 years old. All right. If I had come here 20 years before I did, I'd be a multimillionaire today here because there is a ton of money to be made in Sicily, ton of money, except the Sicilians do a great job painting the Mona Lisa and putting it in the closet. They don't know how to market it. They don't know how to merchandise it. They can't go over into the international marketplaces to compete against other countries for it. And when I first came here, I didn't realize this. I didn't realize how bad the education system was, most of the education system, in the English training, for example, okay? The teachers are basically like my physics teacher was at Austin Prep, 2 pages ahead of the students, okay? They can't speak. They can read it great, and they can write it great, but once they open their mouth, they can't compete. So that's what I learned. Right.
To piggyback on that,
Mhm.
who's been the best advertising for Sicily are shows like The White Lotus, believe it or not. There's more people, Americans, coming because of The White Lotus. They're doing advertising for Sicily. And you're right. I think more needs to get out. And you and I think, are pretty good ambassadors about the stuff that Sicily, all the treasures that Sicily has to offer. And you're right. It is very difficult for them to speak about Sicily, to advertise Sicily. But I would venture to say that has improved a little bit.
I want to say, let me piggyback onto the piggyback. So this is a double piggyback, right? Listen, we have brought maybe $1 million worth of business into Sicily, not into our pockets, but into Sicily that goes to hotels, restaurants, VAT, things like that. We have brought in a lot of people. We have broadcast 400 videos to millions of people on many platforms, right? Do you think once, since I've been here, that anybody has ever said from the Italians, somebody, dear Alfred and Esther, we want to thank you for opening up the eyes of the world. I have,
What?
other than
What?
the
People say
Italian
it
trade.
all the time.
Stop. Full stop. Do you have any recognitions from
Wait,
any national
are you
organizations?
talking about Americans or
No,
Italians?
I'm talking about the Italians.
Do you want
the-
recognition?
I think
Do you want
that
it? I
here's
don't
what I
want-
think. I think we ought to be recognized, myself. Why? Because we have spent at least out of my pocket, a couple $100,000 promoting Sicily over the last 10 or 15 years. And even before that with
Aren't you-
Yumi and all things
Aren't you
Sicilian.
thankful to have this opportunity, Al?
No, I'm not thankful to have the
Nona says,
opportunity.
I
Whatever
found,
opportunity that we did here, we missionaried and
Yeah.
we
But,
did. We were
why do you need-
trailblazers.
what it's like, what do you need an award for? Don't you have the satisfaction?
I'll tell you
of
why I
people-
need a
Wait,
award.
wait.
Okay, I'm going to tell you why
I'm
now.
gonna
I'm going
finish.
to. I want to.
Let
No,
me
no. I'm
finish
going
my
to tell you
sentence.
why.
No,
Right?
I'm going to finish my sentence. To me, having the satisfaction that we have all these viewers writing all the time to us, coming on our tours with us, doing stuff with us, that is enough of a recognition. Now, in the United
Now,
States,
could I answer your
no.
question?
Now, in the United States of
that's baloney.
America, there's plenty of organizations. They're giving awards here, there, the other. Who cares? Who cares?
I'm going to explain to you if you just let me talk for a
Who
second.
cares?
Okay. If we had an award from Sicily, from the Italian government, all right, what could we do with it? It's very simple. We could apply for an unlimited amount of grants in the United States. What for? For education purposes, to teach. We could put the Sicilian Project, for example, on steroids, okay? We would, instead of running 2 classes at a time, we'd be able to run 25 classes at a time. Everybody would notice that. And we could expand the Sicilian Project into doing things, for example, that people desperately need.
Well, maybe
like housing, homeless,
someone
battered
out there,
women.
maybe someone out there
Yeah.
knows someone, but let's move on. Okay.
I
Marie,
just think
speaking of someone who knows someone who knows someone who knows someone, this Marie knows a lot of people. Wanted to say a slower pace and afternoon coffee and chats are wonderful. Buona domenica. There's Silvio. Let's read this. I try to keep my eyes looking at the amazing architecture to avoid seeing all the litter, and then that's another one, you know. Unfortunately, that's a lesson that I've learned in the past 10 years, and unfortunately not all, but many Sicilians just don't have the respect, the dignity to take care of their earth, of their streets. And yes, trash is a big problem. Stray animals is a humongous problem, and it's a very unfortunate thing. But there are groups that are doing things here and there, but it is very much part of the culture that Sicilians, not all of them, and I want to be very clear, but that there are those Sicilians that just hate this stuff, that there are a group, a subset of Sicilians that throw their trash out. They don't care. They don't have respect for their land.
They call that group of people the uncivilized. That they have a name for it.
Mal educato.
They're all badly educated. Okay, that's exactly right, Esther. But on the other side of the story, I think there's a lot of good here for a guy like me that's been here for 20 years. Because if I was in the States and I didn't come to Sicily 20 years ago, living the life that I was living, being a very stressed out lawyer and law prof, I probably wouldn't be, upright and walking today. I'd probably be pushing daisies. I thought I was on the highway to hell when I was in my 50s. Okay, it was just stress. My blood pressure was through the roof. I was an unhappy man. I had a lot more money, but I was an unhappy man. I think coming here, and as she said, slowing down, enjoying the coffee, enjoying the vast and beautiful island paradise. I don't even look at the garbage anymore.
The foods,
I got to be honest with you.
The foods that feed your soul, fuel your body, feed nutrients that are just the best for you. I agree. That's something, that you probably learned over the past few years.
I block it out.
I'm talking about moving here, and probably in the past few years, in the past 10 years, for sure, I've seen you slow down a little bit more, enjoy things a little bit more. And look at you, Al, you haven't aged one bit in 10 years. I'm telling you right now. Can I, excuse me for a second.
I love her that she says that.
Excuse me, I want to say hi to Jerry Genovese, who's another expat that we love. Listen, Jerry, I want to know, will you write in the comment, what are some of the biggest things that you have learned since living here? Jerry made her dream come true. She is now a Italian resident, and she does live here. So I really, really, really would love to hear what she's um, fishing, Al. Fishing, yes.
What's fishing? What am I fishing for?
You're fishing for something. I don't know. The sharp increase in healthcare costs that caused us to rethink our retirement in Italy. Not sure if Italy is the place for us.
Anne.
Uh,
Well, I don't understand what Anne's comment means.
Wait a
Something
sec. That's
gonna
right, Esther. You got
pay
this is what I'm
2,000
talking.
euro a year, and it's going to cause you to
No,
rethink.
but she's probably not an Italian resident. Just let's see what she has to say.
Oh.
Al, if you're having trouble being accepted and respected, imagining what it's like.
I want to
a
answer
woman.
Dr. Rosemary.
Okay.
Rosemary, first of all, I agree with you 1,000%. Number one. However, if you go back in time 20 years when I first came here and you compare the treatment of women then versus the treatment of women today, it's like a different planet. I remember very vividly one time as an attorney, we got a call from a woman who was basically, domestically battered by her husband. And every time she went into the police station to say, help, 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 they were basically powerless to do anything because the laws hadn't caught up with the society. Nowadays, that's a lot different. Nowadays, the university kids, I think, have taken the lead on this in terms of having marches against violence for women. The Italian parliament has acted on multiple levels to bring women into not only the 21st century, but probably among one of the leading countries in the European Union for protecting rights against women.
Let's just say
So
still a problem, but it's come a long way.
It has come a long way.
Joe says Alfred seems to have gotten off the wrong side of that. All right. So truth be told, everyone, that Alfred and I have been under the weather a little bit. So this is a little bit of Alfred, Alfred Live. Don't you guys miss this? Alfred Live, unhinged. Try to keep him on the board.
I'm not unhinged.
Oh, okay. You should have heard yourself earlier.
I wasn't unhinged. What did I say?
Leonardo Sciacca used to say, deep great truth della Sicilia si può dire il tutto e tutto il contrario di tutti. Tutto. Silvio, translate that for us, will you? It's a great saying, but when there's these sayings, I can translate them verbatim, but then I miss the oomph of the meeting. You know what I mean?
The greatest thing that I experience, I have to be honest with you, is when I go home, get in the plane, come back, I approach Sicily, and I go over coming home as I'm going to be landing into the Catania airport. That's one of the most profound images that I have in my head. And I think about it all the time when I'm in the United States. I can't wait to get back to Sicily. This is where I belong. It took me a long time to figure that out.
I think in the last 10 years, I'm surprised you didn't say that as one of your top 10 things at the beginning, because that is one of the things that you learned over the years. Once you decided to make the move and retire from being a law professor, you decided that this is it for you, but you had to learn that this is where really you vibe. And I feel the same way, that is, even though I have fans and family back in the United States, this is where I feel like my vibration is at the highest. Listen, Helen found that the vendors see you frequent their places. They are very friendly. It just takes them the go, I think is what you said. Okay, here we go. Sylvia, thank you. About Sicily, you can say all things, on the contrary, the opposite of all things. Okay, Jerry says, and I'm becoming an Italian citizen by this summer.
Wow.
That is exactly right.
Oh, by the way, I have an announcement from Mike.
Oh, wait, wait.
Before we do
phishing, sending emails that contain exploits, its technique to compromise the security.
Yeah.
Of course, we have our
Phishing.
security guy over here. Listen, this is something that you need to know everywhere.
Yeah, but it's much more. 20 years ago, AE, that wasn't a problem. Even 10 years ago. Mike, I have something important to tell you. Please pass on the info to Jen for me. The German Parliament this week evidently has passed a law where you could be a German citizen now and also an American citizen. Before that, you were precluded from having the dual passports. Germany was one of those
Good
countries.
intel.
And I wanted you to pass that on to Jen to have her, scope that out. But that's another way that we were talking about when you were in Taormina with me. That's just another way to think about it. There's more than one way to skin a cat. But that's a huge thing, that Germany is identifying and accepting now dual citizenships from a lot of nations. This is huge.
Jerry says, I've learned that you have to be very patient, and definitely learning the language should be a top priority, and learn to haggle with prices because you don't get ripped off. Jerry, it's so funny. He'll go into the market and he'll get a thing of strawberries and come back, and the bottom, inevitably, there's like some rotten thing. Me, I go to the market, they check for me, and then they give me some, they weigh it, and then they give me some free. You just have to know which vendor to go to. As Ellen said, you have to be mindful. And this is a rule everywhere. A lot of these topics that we're talking about are worldly and can, cross all cultures and languages and so forth. Be kind to people. They will be kind to you. Period. End of sentence. That's the rule of life, right? Be kind to others and they'll be kind to you. That's here's something. And I had a little bit of a list of things that I didn't want to forget, that I learned that religious festivals are a no joke thing here in Sicily. I remember going to my first festival and being like, wow, they really do a big blow up religious festivals. It's not, when we go to the States and celebrate Christmas and Easter and so forth. I'm talking about the saints. I'm talking about every single town in Sicily has a patron saint, and they throw a party, and the religious zeal among people is just unbelievable. And you with the festivals in Alfeo, Philadelphia, and Chirino. I went to the first festival in Lawrence, Massachusetts. The next year I was here. And the following year, I went to the first one in Tre Castagni. They're like night and day. Here, you can really feel it. It's palatable, the religious love and zeal. Now, by the way, we have the Festival of Sanagata coming February 4th and 5th. That is probably the biggest, the most amazing festival I've ever seen here in Sicily. And we've been to maybe 30 to 40 festivals here, but nothing. This festival blows them all.
It's already
away.
Started with the Candelabra groups. They're already.
Oh, yeah.
Listen, I have to say one thing, okay? I
Can
want to talk to my
you?
Frank. Stop, please. Frank Leone.
Frank Leone's
Frank
here.
Leone. First of all, auguri, because it was your birthday this week. I want to wish you that. Number two, ladies and gentlemen, Frank Leone is probably one of the greatest examples of a stand-up man there is. He's the guy that came to Sicily to get the remains of a friend of ours who had passed away, and to bring the cremation urn back to the United States so he could be interred with his mother and his father. I'll never forget that. Frank Leone is a great guy, and he was born in Sicily, and I'm proud to say that he is my friend. So auguri, Francesco, okay?
There's a lot of people here in this community that I love seeing, that, we love to have this place where you gather here with us and share this little time. And trust me when I tell you, we are very, very humbled and appreciative. Jennifer says, we're almost to the finish line. Our consulate appointment is set. Just have to obtain our healthcare insurance and plane ticket, then wait.
Jennifer,
by the way,
Dr. Rosemary,
yep,
and Jennifer,
thank them.
Paula Hornback, this week have boosted the Sicilian Project by buying raffle tickets for our 60-40 raffle that we're having. That as of this morning, we've sold 39 out of 200 chances.
Which, by the way, is our nonprofit. It's called
Yeah.
the SicilianProject.com.
And if you go onto the website, thesicilianproject.com, and make a $50 donation, we'll send you a number, an entry number, and so that you could take part of this particular raffle. We're going to close it around Easter time. So our target has been to try to get 50 a month. So this is our first month. We're at 39 raffle
Pretty
entries.
good.
Yeah, and we still have 5 days to go. We still need about 11 more people to donate. You could donate up to 4 chances. And now Jennifer has been a very loyal supporter of the Sicilian Project. And this is what I really like about uh, this is what I really like about this community, is that the people here are at a completely different level of love and respect and admiration
For
than
sure.
any other group. In
We've
my
got a
view,
pretty good
we've got
group then.
we have
We've got a pretty-
unbelievable. What did
they're
Frank
good.
say?
He said something. Thank you. Your wife. I'll see you in Sicily. Something
Yeah.
to that.
Good.
I
I hope
really
you come
appreciate
back,
it.
brother. I mean,
For
yeah.
sure.
Grazie.
Let me see what Helen says. That's one thing I miss here. We have forgotten about our saints. As a kid, if saints were our heroes, they have been replaced by sports. 100% agree. We deify those sports people, those movie stars, those blah, 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 instead of deifying the true saints. So that's a, can I tell you one other
One thing
thing?
I learned now, okay,
What?
in
Oh.
retrospect,
Go ahead,
sports here is the opiate of the masses as well.
for sure.
Full
Well,
stop. Every day
soccer.
in the not correct. It's a one-trick pony. All right, soccer. They have the other sports, but you can put them all together, and it's not a drop in the bucket. I'm telling you right now, every day in the La Sicilia newspaper, that's
all papers.
the papers, right? It's 3 or 4 pages, and we're talking about broadsheets, the big pages
Good for them.
of sports, of not sport, soccer stuff.
I think sports are unifiers. Rooting for a team, that's a unifying thing. That's something that brings people together. And I love to see that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Except
listen.
when we godify the stars, the players, and that forth. But going behind a team and rooting for a team together as a community, I think that is awesome.
Don't you think that's a little, that smacks of provincialism, though?
I don't know, Al, but
I mean,
here's
I'm
what
just throwing that out to you.
Here's that's my opinion. Here's another thing that I really enjoyed learning here in
I'm
Sicily.
listening.
That, do you realize that you can go for a walk and pick wild vegetation, wild stuff, and it's really, a lot of that stuff is very healthy. A lot of things that grow very wild here in the fields, you can eat. It's good for you, very healthy. And you know what the greatest thing is? That the people at the stores, at these mom and pops, food and vegetable stands, they know all of that. They may not be literate, they may not be educated, but if you ask them about what this green and this and how, what benefits they have, oh, listen to this. This guy at the farm, the kiwi, I mean the avocado I bought the other day was hard, hard, hard. You know what he told me? He said, take a paper bag, put an apple inside with the avocado, and it helps soften it. I really learned that some of these farmers are very in tune with their land and their produce, and I love that. I love that. I don't know what supermarket I could walk into in the United States of America and have a farm or have people this knowledgeable.
Here's what I know, okay, about one of the benefits that you guys will get to know when you start living here, and I'm sure the expats know this, is the benefits of across the EU food availability now. That's just unbelievable. My friend Mike and Jen, when they came to see us a couple of weeks ago, he came bearing gifts for us. One of the gifts was fig jam from Belgium. Now, I eat fig jam from Sicily. Okay. Another one was grape jelly from Belgium. So over the last couple of weeks, I've sampled the fig jam, and this may sound like
He
heresy,
loves it.
but it was the most delicious. It was like unbelievable, the fig jam, Mike. And the other one was the
Grape jelly.
grape jelly that tasted like grape jelly that I used to eat when I was a child. Because let me tell you something, okay? The, the taste and texture of fruits and vegetables today do not taste like the fruits and vegetables when I was growing up in the
No,
United
wait,
States.
we're talking about Sicily or United
No,
States?
the United States. In
Okay, you gotta
Sicily,
clarify.
however,
Comma,
that's not the case. Tomatoes taste like tomatoes here.
fruits taste like
Celery
fruit.
tastes like she loves celery. Celery tastes like celery.
Bursting with
Here,
flavor.
the breads are great. Here, the different variety of bread. The only thing I detest is the fact that these mental midgets over here they put salt in a lot of it in hamburgers that are pre-made.
Elle,
So you get a
you gotta
hamburger,
get a
you
hamburger
get a
that's been.
hamburger, and it's like encased in
But
salt.
Elle, you're supposed to read the labels. Read the labels. There are those
Only a
that
jerk would put in that much salt.
Elle,
I took one bite, I had to
read the
throw it up. And this
labels.
is after 20 years. I should know.
After
I should know.
after 20 years, you're still complaining. It's
I
just
know.
some things
I'm the
never
complainer in
change.
chief.
The complainer in chief.
Yep.
Listen, I think we're about ready to wrap up. We've had a great group here. I'm so thankful that you guys are here. News. I will be going back to the States in a few weeks. And what other news do we have?
That means I'm going
Wait
to
a
be by
sec, we have-
myself for like 3 weeks. So if anybody wants to come over here and cook my food for me, clean my house, I have a nice room upstairs. No problem.
Love you guys.
I
Thank
love
you
you.
so much for being here.
I think I'm going to get in trouble for that one.
Why?
I don't know.
Okay.
All right.
All right,
Listen, this is
guys.
a lot of fun. We'll do it again next month.
Ciao. Arrivederci. Thanks for watching.